This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Sophia Yvette.
Welcome to the Good Neighbor Podcast. Are you interested in learning more about the public officials serving Frisco? Well, two might be closer than you think. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing your good neighbors, Jared Elad, current Frisco City Council member representing Place 4, and Stephanie Elad, current Vice President of the Frisco ISD Board of Trustees. Jared and Stephanie, lovely to have you both on. How's it going?
Great. Thank you for having us.
It's fantastic. Thank you for having us as well.
Yes, it's a pleasure to have you both on. Now, we're excited to learn more about both of you and the work you do. So would each of you tell us a little about your respective roles and how you serve the people of Frisco?
So I'll go first. So I've been on the Frisco ISD Board of Trustees. This is my 5th year. I was elected in 2022 and reelected in 2025. And on the board, we provide governance and oversight and policies and approve budgets, manage the superintendent, that kind of thing. And Frisco ISD is the largest A-rated school district in the state of Texas. And we're pretty big. We've got over 60,000 students. So there's a lot going on all the time.
Wow, what a big accomplishment. And what about you, Jared?
So I just got elected last year. So I've been on for about 15 months now. I'm on the Frisco City Council. All the seats are at large. So I represent the entire city, not just a particular place or district. And so we basically do the exact same thing for the city that Stephanie does for the school district. We provide oversight. We don't run the day-to-day stuff, but we provide oversight for the city and, make sure that the city is performing up to the standards of what the residents have asked for.
So I'm so curious, what led you both to public service and what inspired you to pursue your particular elected roles?
Well, I think for me, we've been Frisco ISD family. This is our 14th year that one of our kids has been in Frisco ISD. And so several years ago when I decided to run, I just felt like that there needed to be some different kinds of voices on the board, and the direction of the district I felt like needed to be adjusted a little bit, and some of the things needed to be kind of course corrected. And so I decided to run. I was sort of the outsider candidate against all odds, but I was able to convince the voters of Frisco ISD to vote for me and then also reelect me, like I mentioned. So it's definitely a longer story than that, but that's basically the Reader's Digest version.
So Stephanie, since you have been in this role, what changes have you been able to have implemented?
That's a great question. The first thing was we were able to do a survey we were having a retention issue of teachers and staff. And since I've joined the board, and this was something I ran on, the district has implemented a survey every year for the current teachers and staff and also parents and students to find out what's on their mind. That way, any issues that are out there that maybe the principals or senior admin isn't aware of can be surfaced, because sometimes people don't always feel comfortable sharing those things directly, right? Because they get concerned about retaliation and things like that. So this is a way to do it confidentially and via a third party. And then also we have changed the retesting policy, and also some of the pilot programs that were going on that I wasn't a proponent of have since been stopped. So that's just a few things.
And what about you, Jared?
So for me, the reason I kind of got involved is I was watching Stephanie for like 2 or 3 years, and I noticed that she was able to make a difference, even though she was kind of by herself on some key issues. And because we both live here, we've been here, we love Frisco, we're going to be here for a long time. Some people had asked me to run for city council because they felt like maybe the city needed, someone with some more financial expertise. The person that I replaced was in banking, and he came off, and another one was termed out. And so they didn't have anybody with, financial experience on council. So I just kind of felt like it was a good opportunity to also give back, make a difference. And because we didn't really have anyone currently, right now, we have nobody that has the financial background that I do. We're dealing with very big numbers here. And, it's interesting that I'm always asking, how much something costs versus the rest of them never seem to bring that up. I'm not sure why, but we're approving, hundreds of millions of dollars. We just, had to approve a new wastewater treatment facility that cost $300 million. And I was, asking about the cost and, how can we structure it? And, these numbers get very stratospheric. And so I feel like with my background, I can provide some expertise in that area. And so I really enjoy being on there. I've already, approved tax, we have property taxes. We were able to lower that because we increased the exemption from 15 to 20% for homestead. We've approved some other wastewater treatment facilities and water treatment facilities, and we also approved money to go fix up the FC Dallas Stadium, and it's looking fantastic. We're approving new companies coming in. We give them incentives, and we've got a really big announcement soon that I can't talk about, but it's a nice one, and hopefully we'll be able to make that announcement here pretty quick. And so there's just a lot going on in Frisco. Frisco right now is the 10th largest city in Texas. Most people aren't aware of that. We have about 250,000. We'll probably be in the top 8 in the next couple of years because the 2 ahead of us are just a few thousand ahead of us. So Frisco is now a major city, and me and Stephanie are kind of biased. We think it's the jewel of the North. No offense to some of these other cities like Plano and McKinney and stuff, but Frisco's where it's at. We just opened up, Universal Kids, first of its kind, for kids aged like 2 to 11 or 12. That just opened in July. It's doing fantastic. We have the head of the PGA headquarters is here now in Frisco. We have the PGA Championship next May that's going to bring several million people, hopefully, to the Frisco area. We just got a lot of stuff going on. We got some major developments that are coming online, and we've got a project called Fields West. For your folks that know Legacy West, it's going to be 30% bigger than Legacy West. We just got a lot of things that are happening here, and we can't be more excited. And then, and Stephanie mentioned they just got their certification again. They got a 91, so they're the highest rated school district. So one of the reasons we moved here 14 years ago was because of the schools, and a lot of people moved to Frisco because of that. And so we want to keep that standard really high. But interestingly enough, it takes more work now to stay up top than it is when you're growing. And so, but me and Stephanie, we happily give our time to make sure that Frisco stays as great as it is.
I love that. So with everything you both have going on and all the changes that are being implemented, how do you stay connected with Frisco residents and families?
Well, I think we go to a lot of events, and we're out and about in the community, and people can contact us directly through our emails and social medias and things like that. And so we try to stay connected. I have a newsletter that I do. I think Jared's going to be starting one soon himself, where I can send out messages and then people can reply to me if they want to. And sometimes I'll ask for feedback, like, hey, I have to vote on this. What do you think? I've done that several times. And I get really good feedback, and it helps guide me and understand what people are thinking. And then there's also district committees. And so we're in the process of that right now. People have till August 31st to apply for Frisco ISD committee. We'll be doing things like that. And so there's definitely a lot of different ways to stay connected. People stop me in the grocery store sometimes, or at the coffee shop, or when I'm walking my dog around the neighborhood, get feedback from residents. So there's lots of different ways people can reach out.
And for myself, I've got a city website, I have a city email address, I've got a city cell phone. And boy, oh boy, I get a lot of responses. So I get a lot of calls, which is great. I actually encourage that. Our city council meetings, we have twice a month versus the school board. They only do theirs once a month. So quite a few people come to that. I go to a lot of events, like Stephanie said. I was just at the state of the Frisco. We just had the state of the Frisco Chamber of Commerce had the state of Frisco. It's a once a year event. There had 500 or 600 people go to that. And it's just, there's a lot of events that we go to. Stephanie and I are going to an event today with several hundred people. So we stay very connected. We can't go to every event, believe it or not. It's kind of shocking how many events you can go to, but we try to balance it with our kids and to have some personal life. I have sometimes some business trips. I got one in a couple weeks. I got to go for 3 days. And we do squeeze in a vacation now and then, which is nice. We went on a cruise this past summer. So we do a lot. We give back a lot, but it's super rewarding. And I know, I don't want to speak for Stephanie, but I feel like I can. I know that we really enjoy what we do. And, Stephanie's on her second term. I'm only on my first, but there's still a lot of work to do. There's still a lot to do. There's always stuff to do. And, but we really enjoy it. And, Frisco's a great city. If you haven't been here, boy, you need to start checking us out. We've got a lot of stuff going on. So.
Very cool. And before we wrap up today, what has been the most meaningful or rewarding part of serving the people of Frisco in your respective roles?
You want me to go first, Jared?
Yeah, go ahead, Steph.
So I think for me, and this has happened, I'm very fortunate that it's happened several times when I'm able to help a family, able to help a student because of something I was able to do, whether it be change a policy, propose a policy, vote to grant something to a family if they're appealing something to the board, or just when they call me and they're feeling lost, because Frisco ISD is such a big district. So when something's happening with your students, sometimes you don't know what to do, or you're scared, or you're confused, or whatever it is. And they'll call me and I'm able to give them advice to help them work through that issue. That's probably the most meaningful thing because you can see it at an individual level. So much of what we do on the board is, approving budgets, approving policies, dealing with kind of very big global issues, which is really the role, right? Is to handle those big things. And then the individual things are typically handled at the campus level. But sometimes there are policies that have unintended consequences or things like that. And so when a family reaches out and I'm able to help them make a difference in the life of their student and also their family, those are the most rewarding experiences that I've had.
For myself, it's very easy. It's kind of like Stephanie. There's been a couple instances. I'll give a specific example. There was something that came before the board a couple, 2 or 3 months ago. 2,000 people signed a petition. I was on the side of the citizens. I'm always going to be 100% behind the citizens first. And it was a project that wanted to get built. And listen, I want all of our business, commercial folks. I want them to be. I always tell them I need them to be successful. I want the community to be successful. Everyone's happy at that point. But I always start with the citizens first. And me and another councilman, we voted for the citizens on this one project. There was another project also, same thing. We voted for the citizens. That's what they wanted. A major group of about 800 homes had contacted me. And when you had asked earlier, do I hear from them? I absolutely do. And I listen to their concerns. And we weren't necessarily against the project. We just wanted them to be able to communicate a little bit better with the local citizens. And so I can't tell you how many calls I got where they were like, wow, I can't believe you're one of the first guys that's ever stood up for the citizens of Frisco and not just for the developers. And And, so I provide that positive voice for them. And it means a lot when they say that to me. And, I took a meeting with, on the flip side, I did take a meeting with a developer, and I did ask him, I said, have you reached out to anybody else? And he said, no. And I said, why'd you reach out to me? He says, well, I heard you were the one to talk to. You were the one that was the most reasonable person, and that you're willing to listen. And I was kind of taken aback by that. But that was good. I was a little surprised when I heard that. And so anyway, I think I provide a very calm and steady voice, and I think it shows. And I've gotten nothing but positive feedback from folks. And listen, there's going to be times when it's not going to go their way. But I think the residents know now that I'm on their side 100%.
Well, that is amazing. And to ask you both one final question, where did your heart for helping people, and both of you can answer this, really come from? Where in your life was it like, I'm ready to make a difference? When was that moment?
I think for me, this was never anything that I had planned to do or was on my bucket list, or that I ever, if you would have asked me, a couple years before I did it, would you ever run for office? I would have said no. But I just saw a need, kind of to Jared's point. At the time that I ran, I felt like there was a need to sort of listen to the residents in the community who maybe didn't agree with everything the district did, or maybe had some concerns. I felt like those voices weren't heard because I had some concerns and I felt like I wasn't heard. And so I wanted to kind of run to be that voice. And I honestly, when I first kind of got interested in the whole thing and started attending board meetings and all of that, I was going to find someone to run. And I looked around and I couldn't find anybody. And so I thought, well, either I do it or maybe no one will do it. And since then, it's almost a whole new board since I ran the first time. And we all work together really well. But I did sort of look around and say, is there anyone who's going to advocate for the things that I'm going to advocate for? And then I did advocate for it. And at that time, there wasn't anyone. I looked everywhere. I couldn't find anybody. So I thought, well, either I do it or maybe it doesn't get done. And so I did it. And it just sort of came from a desire to, make a difference. I mean, there's two things you can do when you want to see change, right? You can either go complain on the internet or you can do something about it. And so I'm not really a complain on the internet kind of person. It's not what I do. So I thought, well, I could either be upset and frustrated, or I could try to make a difference. And so that's what I chose to do.
Same thing for me. I guess for me, it was in my profession, I own my own wealth management firm. And so I help people achieve their financial goals. And so my profession, I'm helping people already. And I saw also a need. There was a project that I was totally against, that Frisco wanted to do. Is a multi-million-dollar project. It was probably going to get close to $1 billion, that I just did not think financially was a wrong move for Frisco. And that's when people asked me, maybe you should, would you be willing to step up? And if you'd asked me and Stephanie 5 years ago if we were going to do this, we would have laughed, because we weren't those people. But we came here from California, and unfortunately, California is not run very well. And so we know firsthand what happens when an area is not run very well. And we just didn't want to be California. And so, like I said, when I saw the impact Stephanie made, because I wasn't sure about it, but when I saw how well Stephanie was doing and the impact she made, I thought, well, I didn't think anyone was going to vote for me. I thought, well, I'll give it a try. And I thought, well, we'll see if anyone votes for me or not. And I was a little surprised, the overwhelming support that I got. But I think I talked about things that resonated with the citizens. It must have. I won, right? And I actually won twice. I had to go into a runoff. I was number one by almost 14 points in the general election, and then the runoff I won by like 8 points. And so, I guess my message really resonated. And so far, I feel like I've made an impact just like Stephanie has.
I love that. And finally, where can our listeners go to learn more about each of you, follow your public service work, or contact you?
So my website is Stephanie FISD .com. So Stephanie FISD.com. And also the Frisco ISD website, all the board is on there. Our email addresses are on there. You can contact us directly through there to my Frisco ISD email. And we also have a Facebook page, Stephanie for Frisco ISD.
And for me, I've got a Facebook page, Jared for Frisco, FOR. I also have a website, same address, Jared for Frisco. I've got email, jared@jaredforfrisco.com. And so if you go to the city website, I'm listed there. My city phone is listed there, my cell phone. I also have a web address there as well. So I'm checking a lot of email on a day-to-day basis, work and the city and the constituents. So, but there's no way they can't get a hold of me. And I put a lot of stuff on the Jared for Frisco, the Facebook. I put a lot of stuff on that. And I am going to be starting a newsletter here pretty soon. And so people can sign up for that as well. Probably in the next month or so, I'll get that launched, and it'll have a lot of stuff, kind of like what Stephanie has done as well. So there's a lot of opportunity to speak to us. And just so you know, I do welcome, I know Stephanie does too. Sometimes people are like, oh, I don't want to bother them, they're busy, but it's the opposite, because I want to know what they're thinking and what's going in, is the city going the right direction? Do you like it? I just asked that of a couple of people, if they were aware of something and did they like it, and they weren't aware of it. So I'm asking myself. So, but I really do appreciate when people, especially if they want to come to a city council meeting, we have citizen input, so they can come and speak and ask whatever question they want. We do have it on hold only for non-agenda items right now. We went through a little bit of a hiccup on that, but we're going to reestablish that for non-agenda items here pretty soon. So there's a lot of different ways to get a hold of me and Stephanie, and I know that we welcome all the feedback that we get.
Well, Jared and Stephanie, I really appreciate you both being on the show today. We wish you both the best moving forward.
Thank you.
And thank you for having us on. Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpnorthdallas.com. That's gnpnorthdallas.com, or call 469-221-9345.